All right, so for 6th grade 1-point perspective, what we're going to be doing, let me see if I can kind of put this up here. There we go. Is we're going to be working in landscape, and what that means is our paper should be long ways. This is landscape, this way is portrait, so we are working in landscape. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with our ruler. I like to turn my paper a lot, so I will turn in portrait to do this. What you do is you come in and you want to make sure you have a flat ruler that has flat end bottoms, because any vertical or horizontal lines that we do are going to be like this. They're going to take this and line it up with the edge of your paper. And then I'm going to draw a line across my paper. It's a very light line, but it is there. And then on that line, I'm going to decide where I want my vanishing point. So I'm going to decide my vanishing point is going to be right here. I don't care where on your paper or where on your horizon line your vanishing point is, but it has to be on the horizon line. So I'm going to decide that I want my first building to be here. There's a few different ways you can start this. This is a little different than what I started in class. Keep in mind, I'm right-handed, so I don't want to put my ruler over here like this, because then I'm crossing, and I want to try to avoid crossing. Once again, turn your paper to make it work. I'm going to come here, start at my vanishing point. Any diagonal line is going to be a converging line, which means that line is going to lead back to the vanishing point. So I'm going to come here, put my pencil on my vanishing point, line up with where I'm wanting to put my first building, and you can draw your whole line out like that. Okay? And then what you'll do, and I need to get my laptop, is we're going to draw now our first line of this building. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here where that corner is, line up with it with the edge of the paper. You want to make sure it's as straight up and down. This is a vertical line, so it's going to be straight up and down. No, I want this one to be a little on the taller side, so I'm actually going to go above the horizon line with that one. And then what I'll do is I'll take from the top of that line, turn my paper to work for me, go back to my vanishing point, line up that with the top of that line, and draw a line. So that is one side of my building. Now what I need to do is come in, and once again, I'm going to turn it to work for me. I'm always lining up with the edge. I don't do it from the top because then my ruler hits me and I can't see it as well. So you always line up on the side that's closest to you. I'm going to line up with this right here. I'm not quite there. There we go. And then I'm going to draw it out to about there. And then I'm going to come in, draw this line up to maybe a little bit taller just so I have something to go with. Then what I'm going to do is I don't want to just connect these two lines because it's not straight. You see how off that is? Probably not because it's glaring. So this is extremely off. So what I want to do is I want to put my pencil here. Let's see if I can. There we go. I'm going to put my pencil here on this dot where the line comes up, and this line from. Let me explain this better. So this is my vanishing point, and this is the top of this line. So this is a side of a building. What we're going to do is we need to connect this line to this line. But what we don't want to happen is we don't want to connect from here to wherever I stop, because that's not straight. That is going to be a diagonal line, which we don't want because it won't be going to the vanishing point. So what we need to do is turn our paper. Put your pencil where those two lines meet. Line up with the edge of your paper. Always, 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 see? Line up with the edge of your paper. And draw your line. And what you do is you erase the one that you don't need. Erase this. And then, but we don't want to erase this yet. Because now what we have to do is we have to come in, line up with the edge of the paper, and I'm going to decide how wide I want this building to be. And then I want it to be that wide. Then I'll erase this. That's your first building. Let me straighten that out so it doesn't look like I'm doing diagonal lines on bottom. So let me double check that line because it's bothering me. Yeah, no, that's even. All right. So you can go ahead and choose to leave these right now, or just go ahead and erase them. This is why you have to draw lightly. Now I'm going to decide this line actually I kind of want to keep a little. So my bad. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, decide, oh, I want to make another building. By the way, because I put my horizon lines down so low, unless I have a building really low on the paper, it's going to, you're not going to see the top of the buildings, which I'll show you what that will look like later. I'm going to come up and I'm going to go above, say right here. And then it's just the same process over again. So this is this line 1. 2 is going to lead back to here, if we can see what I'm doing. 2 is just going to lead back to there, and that was this. This line leads back to the vanishing point. This line, if I just move it up, is not going to lead to the vanishing point. So I have to realign with the vanishing point each and every time. Okay? So 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. So now we're going to do that line. Put my pencil here, line it up, and I'm going to take it in a little bit more like that. I think that's actually a little too far, so I can always erase, and I'm going to bring it back to there. So if I do this, like I said, I took it out this far and I erased it back down to here because I thought it was too far. Because you have to imagine, if this was a building that we could physically see, then it would be too wide behind it. So I have that. What I want to avoid though is lining this up with this or this. You don't want to do that. Buildings don't work that way. So I'm going to come in. So if this was 1, 2, 3, this is 4. So put it here, line up with the edge of the paper. And I'm going to go down. I do not want to go through the building. So that's 4. Now, we have this. This is going to be 5. You don't leave this open. It looks like your building is just never ending. So once again, turn your paper, line it up, and draw your line. Don't go through. So then we have that part of that building. And then just like this building, we're going to decide how wide we want it. I only want it that wide. And I'm going to erase this converging line. And now I have 2 buildings. So if I want, say, a building over here, I would treat a building here like I did this one. I would come in, your building, your building should have space between them because your buildings, when you notice them, aren't not touching. They don't touch each other. I want this one to be shorter, so I'm going to do it here. And I'm going to draw this line based off this. Don't want my line moving. Okay. So just like with these two, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this point, line it up with the vanishing point. Now, I do not want to draw through my buildings. I'm just going to come here and draw out. Like that. And it is angled. Please do not assume it's not angled. It should line up with the vanishing point. I drew that the wrong way. My bad. So, this would go, it would be this one, line up, and that's where that line would be. Okay? Now mind you, you might as well, since you're here, don't leave it angled, line it up, and draw it. Now, if it's looking a little flat, that's because it's right by the horizon line. The closer you are, the flatter your lines will be. But that is done correctly. But what we don't want to forget is this building is just like this one. We don't want it floating. So we take this, line it up, draw. And then you have two buildings right there. Or, yeah, two buildings right here, but three all together. And then what you can do is if you're wanting to put buildings behind it, which hopefully you will, you don't want to start on the corner of one building. I'm going to come in, I'm going to make that one like that. I'm going to line up this line with the vanishing point, and I'm only going to run this to the top of that building. Sorry, you probably did not see that. So what I did was at the top of this line, I lined up with the vanishing point and I stopped at the top of that building. Don't draw through the building if you don't have to. And then you're going to come in, line up, decide how wide it's going to be. I don't want to do this. I do not want this to almost be or be exactly lined up with that building. So I'm going to pull it back a little bit to here, line up my line, and stop it at the top of that building. It's behind it. You're not going to see more than that. That's it. That's all you have to do for that building. Same here. Come in, line up. This one's going to be taller. I'm going to let it go off the paper. I'm going to pretend it's going off the paper. So now what you got to do is you got to pretend that it ends off somewhere here. Line up. I'm going to decide it's that angle it ends up and then draw that. I'm going to pretend my building goes off, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Then you come over here. I'm going to come in. I want this to come out this way. Now, mind you, that is a lot of room. So, what we could do is I'm going to continue this line. Now, what I can do is I can decide, oh, there's going to be a road there. And that means I'd erase that. I'm going to put in a little bit of a buffer. Actually, I'm going to make that a little bit better. So I'm going to widen this up a little. Because I'm making it like a sidewalk. So there's that. Now, if I do that, hold on. I'm going to come in. Like I said, I'm starting to have that, but I still need to continue this line too. Because if I have sidewalk there, and say this is going to be streets,